let's begin with the baseball team who today was able to split a 4-game series with the San Francisco Giants. And here's reality. They sit at 11-8. Last year, they sat at 11-8. They won 95 games. So my question is, are we being too harsh? If they were able to win 95, win the division, put together a strong stretch 1 year ago with a very similar start, do they deserve some flexibility here with the fan base? And my answer to that is no, I don't think we're being too harsh. And no, I don't think we need to be flexible. But some do feel that way out there. And actually, let's listen to Rob Thompson. Rob spoke before today's game in the dugout discussing how big it would be to split with San Fran. But listen to what he had to say about the perspective.
Well, I think we have to play better in every aspect of our game. We've got to pitch a little bit better, swing the bats better, play better defense. We just have to play better. We haven't put it all together yet. But we win today, and we got the exact same records we had last year at this time. So let's keep it in perspective a little bit.
All right, so there's Rob Thompson almost acknowledging that just because we maybe haven't lived up to our standard to this point, last season we were the kings of the NL East. We were the top dogs. We were able to finally win the division, and we started out with the same exact record. So cool your jets, because once we do figure it out, and I'm sort of talking as if I'm Rob Thompson, because I feel he feels this way, we're not even playing our best ball yet, and we got the record that we did last season. Wait till we do play better defensively, play better offensively, when we're able to get Aaron Nola cooking a little bit more than his 6.5 ERA. It's not good. All right, it's not good. So when we're able to get him into a better spot where he's not walking a million guys and walking in runners, just think what we can be once we find our groove. Brandon Marsh won't be this way forever. Bohm won't be this way forever. That's what they're thinking internally. Are they right? Is there something to that way of thinking? 215-592-9494. I don't think they're right with that mentality. I don't think we're being too harsh as a fan base. And the truth is, there's 3 reasons why I feel we're not being super harsh and we're just being objective with who this team is nowadays. Number 1, I just don't think the guys we talk about are as good as Dave Dombrowski thinks they are, as Rob Thompson thinks they are, as maybe some of the guys in the dugout think that they are. I don't think JT's that good anymore. I just don't. Offensively speaking, he's not some insane bat that is going to change who you are. I think Nick's struggles hurt you more than his positives help you. I think Trey Turner is super underwhelming and isn't a superstar, and you paid him to be a superstar. I think Bryson Stott is a guy offensively. I think he's better than just a guy defensively, but offensively speaking, I think he's just a guy where there was once a time they probably projected him to be closer to a 300 hitter, and I just don't think that's who he is. So number 1, I just think we overvalue them as who they are nowadays as they are reaching the backstretch of their ages here. They're reaching the mid-30s now. Once you start talking 31, 32, 33, 34, once you start inching that way, fellas, ladies and gentlemen, you don't get better. You just start to slowly diminish if you're lucky. There are some people, snap of the fingers, they just drop off. But this is where the slow decline actually happens. Number 2 on my list, their outfield production. There's no actual fix. Rojas stinks. Marsh stinks. And I don't think they have anything internally that can really save it now. And number 3, the bullpen. So with all of those 3 factors, I don't believe we are being too harsh. I think I'm being critical based off of the serious issues that I just laid out. Those are serious problems. They are the reason why this team is frustrating to watch, why they're annoying to watch. They may get base runners on. They may have runners in scoring position, but why can't we ever produce the way we need to? Not just walking twice for a couple of runs against San Fran in a first inning a day or two ago. Why can't we get the timely hit that everyone leaves the bases and you knock in 3 runs with the base clearing double? Where are those timely hits? Well, once you get to the bottom half of your order, 7, 8, 9, they're consistent outs. And if they all get 3 at-bats, that's 3 full innings of work where you essentially don't even have a chance to do anything offensively. And I don't see that really changing. Are we being too harsh? 215-592-9494. Same record as last year. And last year, mid-90 win total and a division victory. They were crowned NL East champions. The same start. Do they deserve some leeway here, knowing that they do now have multiple years in a row of making the playoffs, being a team in October, technically being a threat? Do they deserve that? I don't think so. But maybe fans do feel that way out there. Let's talk about it. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Spike in Bristol. What's going on, Spike?
Hi, Brodes. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, and I love your producer, Alex. He's awesome.
He's phenomenal.
I like him. He's one of my favorites.
As you should.
Anyways, no, we are not being too harsh because I 100% agree with you. I'm like at the end of my rope with the garbage play. I'm sorry. I don't feel entitled. I don't feel that I'm spoiled. I'm neither of those two things. Okay? And I think you are 100% right in what you're saying. And I think we should expect better. And I think we should get better. And I don't know how or where they're going to find somebody for their pitching staff and for their hitting and their defense. But I'm like at the end of my rope with the Phillies.
Garbage.
And I'm going to say, it's been Holy Week all week. I just got out of church a little while ago, and so I haven't been listening like I normally would. But I hear this nonsense about A.J. Brown, and I can't even wrap my head around it.
Don't worry, Spike. I don't think that there's a lot of meat on the bones. I really don't. I don't think there's a lot of meat on the bones with that one. I'm not buying they're just getting rid of AJ. I saw some stuff about Devontae, Yahoo Sports throwing trash at the wall to see who bites. I'm not buying it. There's just no way. I'm not buying it.
Good. Because I hear you talking to my 2 other favorite shows, like Spike and Fritz and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you popping in there, so I give you a lot of street cred.
Oh, wow. I'm getting street cred from Spike. Well, yeah, I appreciate that.
You have totally street cred, and you're badass.
Spike, thank you so much for taking the time to call in. Yeah, I'm not buying any of the A.J. Brown stuff, which we can get into a little bit later on for sure. I do have some thoughts on that and on pick 32 as we are 1 week away from the draft. But I am fascinated to hear how Phillies fans are feeling because I do find myself getting into debates with certain people online saying it's April. It's April. There's no way you can react. And they actually bring up the Mets. And you can react. That's a little strong, but more along the lines of being as intense as I am or being as disgusted as some Phillies fans are. And the example that they keep going back to is the New York Mets. Because everybody thought last year at the deadline the New York Mets were dead and the Mets fans were ready to get on Steve Cohen. And it was all about you were going to make this franchise relevant again and they should sell off all their guys at the deadline. And, well, look at where their season finished. They went to the NLCS and happened to lose to a team that was just flat out better than them, but they weren't supposed to be where they were in October when you looked at them midway through the season. But when you get hot, you never know where that train can take you. And while I understand that, I also feel it's easy when everybody counts you out. But when you are expected to be a juggernaut lineup, when you're supposed to be a stacked team, when you have this mentality of this is your year, the core is only getting older, you have to execute now. There's added pressure compared to when it's 2022. Nobody expected you to do anything. You're playing with house money. Some guys and some teams and some rosters just can't handle the pressure. And in my opinion, so far over the years, every time it was their moment with the light shining bright after the 2022 run, they have come up so small because I don't think they have the stones. I don't think they have the toughness to be able to wear that pressure. That's why they're struggling with runners in scoring position. They get tight. I mean, we're talking about a game mid-April where there's a man on second and third, no outs. They can't do anything. They're getting tight then. How do you think they're going to feel when it's October and you're playing a good team and it's game 3, the series is tied 1-1, and you got to get it done? I hate that I'm this mad. I hate that this team gets me angry. I sit down every night and I literally wonder, am I going to actually enjoy this, or am I going to want to bang my head against a concrete wall for 3 hours when this is finished? That's not how I should approach a baseball game. When it's 6 o'clock and it's almost 6:40, I'm happy knowing that there's a game on, but I do wonder if I'm even going to be happy by 6:48, or am I going to watch my team strike out 3 times in the first inning and then be irrelevant through the first 7 innings and strike out nonstop, swinging at crap and not being able to produce when they need to? Or am I going to get 5 runs in the first inning and then you get 1 hit through the next 6 innings? I never know. I know. I'm crazy. 215-592-9494. Let's go to Bree. You're on WIP. What's up, Bree?
Hey, Brodes. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. We are not too hard on the Phillies. That anybody who says that, I just don't see the logic in that. I think that they're just not playing up to par. We're not being too hard on them. We're not spoiled. What we need is these guys who keep telling everybody that they feel like they're champions to go out and play like champions. You know, the win today was nice. It doesn't really change my opinion on whether or not I think they're going to go anywhere, because I'm with you. I don't think they have what it takes. But I do want to give credit to Christopher Sanchez.
Yeah.
For the beautiful gem he just picked. And come on, I felt like they were going to blow it in the end. I really did. I was like, if you blow this for Christopher Sanchez, I'm going to be so mad. Okay, Alec, I'm great that you're getting hit, but you're going to have to do it for a lot more to change my mind.
Yeah, and truth be told, Bree, that's an error. Don't give me no triple. I mean, I want him to feel good about himself, but your center fielder hit his palm of his glove, and then the ball dropped. That's not a trip. That's not a hit.
You know, well, I thought it was caught. I was like, that's caught. Like, that's definitely, like, that. Don't be happy about it, but don't oversell it. I feel like, yes, my daughter wants to say hi real quick.
Okay. Hi.
So, yeah, I feel like, you know, it's okay to give him credit, but I feel like people are all, okay, Bohm's back, like this, that, and the other. Come on, guys. We got to settle down here.
Let me ask you this, Bree. I got a question for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think the Phillies need to go back to finding fun again? Meaning the daycare, the water, the stub stuff. Someone needs to step up and be the party animal. Do they need to find a way to just let loose? All right, maybe go out one night, get plastered with the fellas, and then you just regroup, reset from there, and have good vibes? Or do they need to stay locked in and focus on winning a championship? How should they attack this mentally?
I think they need to, like, I want them to have fun, but I think at this point they need to focus. And then once they get to a point where they're playing consistently well again, then you can start goofing off and messing around. I mean, I think there's room for that, and they should be having fun, but I feel like one of their biggest problems is they're just not focused.
Okay, listen, Bree, I can't thank you enough for chiming in. I always love hearing from you. Thank you so much. All right, so let's keep rocking these phone calls here. I'm curious if some feel the other way. Let's go to Connor in Springfield. Yo, Connor.
Yeah, what's up? How you doing?
What's up, Connor?
Nothing. I just think that everyone's overreacting. I mean, every phone call has been we're 11-8. We're 19 games in. We're not playing great baseball, but I mean, look at the Braves. You could be
But the Braves probably aren't good enough to do anything. So if we're comparing them to the Braves, we're comparing them to a team that's not good enough.
I see what you're saying there, but what I'm saying is we overreacted with the Eagles early. Same thing. Fire the coach, all this. And we're doing it again with the Phillies. We're 19 games into a 162-game season. And we obviously have some issues like Marsh and the bullpen. We need to figure something out there. But you have a great pitching rotation, and you have guys that a lineup that we've seen now for 4 years that's just streaky. That's what we are.
So if they are streaky, and we've seen it over 4 years, are you just banking on the streak being timely in October, and that's just what we have to do is sit here and pray that this streaky lineup doesn't that mean that there are some serious concerns that they're so streaky compared to just having a lineup that you know can absolutely rake when you need to in big moments?
I agree, and that's why I think, like, we always say Middleton's he's made some pretty terrible decisions for us. Not Middleton.
Dombrowski?
Dombrowski. Made some terrible decisions. I think if we make a couple moves at the deadline, grab an arm and a left fielder, we could be all right. I just think that we're overreacting too much.
Okay, hey, listen, you're allowed to feel that way.
I just think we did the same thing. We're in the same process with the Eagles. The Eagles were 4 games in. We were saying fire the coach. People were overreacting, and then they turned it around. I think, especially in a baseball season, there's 162 games. Every team, we're 11-8. You look around the MLB, we're above the middle of the pack when it comes to the NL with record-wise. So, I mean, I think we're just overreacting.
Okay, listen, Connor, I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for calling in. I don't feel the same way, but I think this is where I don't buy into the Eagles part of this when people try and compare the 4-game stretch where they started out 2-2. When they had that bye week 5, they sat down and they completely changed who they were to become a completely different style of team. I don't think you can do that in baseball where mid-season you just completely change who you are. I think you can become a run-heavy team offensively. You can find ways to incorporate Saquon, and he can take over differently, and you have your O-line and your D-line. And I just think in football, if you change your strategy and your scheme and you buy into being a run-first heavy type of squad, and you do that, and teams have a hard time catching up when you have that level of superstar as a running back and Jalen. It's totally different, whereas you can't change these guys. You mentioned it yourself, right? You've watched them for 4 seasons. You know what they are. And so far throughout those X amount of years, it's all been the same thing. There's a pocket of postseason baseball where you can't sustain their hotness offensively, so it's eventually going to evaporate, and when it does, you're toast. I just don't think you can ask an offense that's so inconsistent to be consistent the length of the postseason because it hasn't been able to this point. So I think that's where it differs from the football team to where we are right now. I think it's two totally different styles of sport, two different styles of how you can change and adapt on the fly mid-season. A lot of this stuff with baseball, you got to approach it in the offseason to change your approach at the plate and this and that. I mean, Nick's 30-something years old. Nick's never going to change. Here's a first pitch he's going to swing. Here's a 2-0 count he's going to hack and probably pop it up. You're never going to change a lot of these guys. They are who they are at this point. They've been pros for years. They've learned one way. It's already sort of installed in their DNA, and that's what it is, and you got to live with it. And the problem is when you live and die with this particular team, they have shown us over the years that it's just not enough. Now, it doesn't mean they stink. Doesn't mean they're flat out bad. They're going to win regular season games, but we're trying to win a championship and maximize this core because there's not much run left. So they get you far. They don't get you far enough. And I don't think that there's anything you can do mid-season to change the way the Eagles changed. 215-592-9494. But yes, the Philadelphia Phillies are 11-8. Last year, they were 11-8. They won 95 games. So I'm asking if we're overreacting. So far, most callers agree with me that we are not being too harsh, but that was our first of the night so far that think we are. And it's okay if you do. I say this a lot, but I like hearing the side I'm not on because sway me. I want to feel optimism. I want to feel good about baseball. Nothing sucks more than terrible baseball. So I don't want it, but it's just how I feel. All right, let's go to Bob in Doylestown. What's up, Bob?
Hi, Brodes. How are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. Brodes, one comment on the Phillies, and then I want to hit you in your wheelhouse. I want to talk about the Flyers.
Okay, cool.
I blame, we're 19 games in. Okay, we all know that.
Mm-hmm.
Long baseball season. But, Brodes, we need a center fielder. I mean, we are a chasm out there. They cannot. We do not have a major league center fielder on the roster because neither one of those guys can hit. I think the Phillies are finding out why the Angels got rid of Brandon Marsh because he just can't hit. Yes. Yeah, and Rojas may be great defensively, but the kid doesn't know how to hit. And I blame that squarely on the general manager. I don't think it can be fixed midseason. This should have been fixed over the winter.
Yeah, and he knew. That's what's annoying is that was his number one job. I mean, if you looked at the list of things that needed to be done this offseason, the first one on the list was you need to get a real outfield. You need to get a real professional outfield. Now, I don't think you're going to get the best outfield ever, but you needed to get serviceable outfielders. And, I mean, you ran it back with the same group that is just unacceptable outside of Kepler, but I'm saying in center field, a platoon method, this was always going to be the result. It shouldn't be shocking, but I think Dave Dombrowski is somehow shocked, which is absurd to think about.
Totally. Now, going to your forte.
Oh, hold on real quick. You want to puck it up?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, puck it up.
Puck it up.
Let's do it, Bob. What do you got?
All right. I think this is an extremely important summer, like the most important summer that they've had in years. Brodes, we need a goaltender. I think we need a true number one center, okay? And I'll be honest with you, I think this summer has got to be all about maybe getting to the first round next year, getting to the second round. They just can't keep this going on like we're just in no man's land. And my question or your thoughts on those two things, and the third one would be, I would like to see Rick Tocchet as the coach. I don't know how you feel about that.
Okay, so all good stuff to bring up, Bob, and thank you so much for the call. So, yes, they need a 1C. They need a 1D. They need a head coach. This is a big offseason for them. But I don't think you go from where they are now to they're going to be in the playoffs next season. Not that it's impossible. It depends on what Danny B does. If he looks for some offer sheet stuff and that's how he acquires talent and he gets creative with his salary and he makes that push, now that Mitchkoff is here earlier, then maybe there's a chance. They need to get a goalie, though, and it's not going to be the future goalie. It's going to be a hold the fort down type of goalie like a Brian Elliott, a veteran guy who can come in and just play for for a few years before you figure out maybe the 19-year-old who's in Russia playing in the KHL. But that's the type of stuff that would need to happen for them to make a push for the playoffs. And it may just be 1 year too early for that way of thinking. They are in a rebuild with a brand new regime that just sort of took over. So you do have to be patient, even though we've been patient forever, not with this regime. And that's something you got to really consider there. But today was a big loss for them. Losing this game to Buffalo in their season finale set them up with the 4th worst record in the NHL, which is massive for the lottery balls when they bounce early May, compared to if they won in regulation, it would have been the 7th worst record in the NHL, which changes things significantly. So it was a huge loss for them, but there's a lot of work to be done. And in regards to Tocchet, I don't think they're going to go that route. Now, personally, his track record's really not that great as a head coach, as much as I love the guy. He is almost too much like John Tortorella. It's that same old school fiery guy that pushes you to the edge, and it never really lasts that long because players eventually kind of tune that stuff out. They need to find something a little bit more on the... They need to find that good mix of good with the guys, but still has some of that gnarliness to them. My perfect scenario would be if the Penguins fired Mike Sullivan because they're looking for a new facelift. I would love to hire a Mike Sullivan. I think he's that perfect mix of old school. He makes you work hard. You're going to have to earn it, but he's also got a lot of pedigree with a lot of Stanley Cups, working with a lot of high-profile guys in Crosby and Malkin and Letang and Fleury, and that matters. Having that type of relationship with the pros, that matters. So that's the route I would look for over a Tocchet.